I legit don't know how that one devolved so quickly.
Right.
And so many times.
Welcome to the Bitchin' Siblings Podcast.
Okay, this and that.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Bitchin' Siblings. It's me, Amy.
And I'm Jenny. What's up? What's up?
So,
And
y'all,
in honor of our brother.
yes. Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Anyways,
So this week we are talking about dreams. Want to discuss dreams that we've had that have stuck with us.
okay.
So, Jenny, how often do you dream?
I mean, I don't know that I could put like a certain number of days a week because I remember that I dream, but I don't necessarily remember everything that I dream, so I don't know that I could differentiate. I would say the normal amount of dreams. When I'm
So-
stressed, really anxious, or have stuff going on, I dream a lot, but they're very like scatterbrained and there's like no rhyme or reason to it. So I think it's just my body trying to like, make amends with all the shit I'm doing to it.
This is true. That makes total sense. So, when you dream and you remember that you have dreamt, how quickly do you forget your dreams after waking up?
Oh, like immediately. I mean, okay, I remember that I dream. I remember I could give you like a Cliff's Notes version of it, but like if it came down to details and people's names and stuff, no, right away. Like I'll wake up in the morning and be like, "What the hell?" And then like when you ask me to replay it, I could be like, "Well, I remember like this, but I don't know why this was there." And like this, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sorry, I'm like, ugh, my nose itches.
It's because you were out cutting grass.
No, it was before. I've been doing stuff around the house all day. Like
So you've got dust and
my-
pollen up there.
the hall bathroom that my youngest uses is also would be the bathroom if people use like if they came to our house. And so obviously we have a graduation party this weekend, and so I like bleached and scrubbed everything down and like took a toothbrush to things because I mean he's a teenage boy and it's clean, but other people are going to be using it, so it needs to be like pristine. So I did like
span.
what?
Spick and span.
Yeah, so I was working with a lot of bleach, and I did like the deep stuff, like cleaning behind the toilet and on the like stuff. But like I'm not gonna do the mirror and the window and everything the mirror or the like sink and stuff until like the day before,
Yeah.
and the toilet because it's just gonna get dirty again. But like I was
Exactly.
scrubbing like in the corners on the floor and like getting up all the dog hair and all the dust and
There's a reason why we don't have people over, like ever. Because, well, one, anytime we ever used to invite people over, our house wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
We're trying to be nice here and invite you over so that you don't have to have everyone at your house, and we kind of want to be at our home once in a while too.
Mhm,
So, anyways, that's a whole nother story.
I don't mind having people over, but
I probably wouldn't mind, but I've gotten turned away from having people over. So at this point, I just don't fucking care anymore.
you know
what I
why
mean?
why have you been turned away from that?
Because there's constantly a reason why my house isn't good enough.
Oh yeah.
So if my house isn't good enough, I'm not going to invite you. I'm just not.
To me, it doesn't. I mean, at this point, like I have been. There's always somebody. Like I think it was 2 podcasts ago. I don't even remember, but I mentioned something about I even cleaned out my fridge today because I know one of my sister-in-laws is going to come over, and that's like her favorite thing to do is to clean out the cupboards and organize people's cupboards and kitchen or in fridges. And now I feel like I have to do that because I don't need her doing that in the middle of the graduation party because that'll stress me out.
Oh, see, if I were you, the way I would take that is I'd leave it and be like, have at it.
Well, yeah, but
It'll give you something to do,
but when
and
I
it'll keep you out
have
of my
80
hair.
people at my house, the last thing I need them to think is that I don't organize enough that my sister-in-law had to come over to the house and do it for me. Like
Oh,
that
see, I
looks
wouldn't care. I'd be like,
that looks
apparently it didn't live up to her standards, but it works for us.
Well, yeah, it works for me, and I know my cupboards. It doesn't matter what I do. My cupboards and stuff will never be up to her standards. That she has a very specific way she does things. Nothing wrong with it. It's very organized. It's like that's awesome. That just does not work for me.
I get that.
Again, in the last podcast we talked about organized, or I think it was our this and that, organized chaos. I am OCD in some things, but I'm not in others. And one of the areas I'm not OCD in, because it would cause me more stress, is having things organized down to a T. Like that, I would be so stressed out if something was out of place or not turned just right, or you know what I mean. And that is no, like that. Just the thought of it stresses me out. So, you know,
That's funny. So back to our topic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how even we got off topic.
Because I was sneezing and with my nose.
Oh, gotcha. So I probably dream the average amount, the amount that they say that everyone does. However, I feel like I remember more of my dreams than most people. And I remember them long term, not just like for a couple hours after I wake up, but some of them turn into like long-term memories.
Okay, so I was looking at that online because I was like, I wonder why some people remember their dreams more than others, or why they stick with them more than others. And I found this website, scienceabc.com, and it says that there are a few reasons why people can't remember their dreams. One reason is they don't have enough periods of wakefulness during their sleep cycle so that they can memorize their dreams. Another reason is that the region of their brain responsible for processing information from external stimuli and from within the body, the temporoparietal junction, isn't as active as it is in people who can remember their dreams. Finally, people who can remember their dreams usually wake up during their REM sleep cycle, which is when dreams are the most vivid.
Okay, so that checks out so slightly off topic, but slightly not. So when I sleep, people have always wondered how I can sleep as much as I do. And they're like, don't you feel worse? And I'm like, here's the thing. I could sleep 4 hours. I can sleep 10 hours. I don't feel any different.
Oh, I
don't feel any more rested, any less rested, anything like that. I have had doctors ask me when I go in for like my wellness checks, when was the last time you felt fully rested? Never. I legit cannot remember the last time I felt fully rested. Like, I don't even remember feeling fully rested as a kid.
Well,
I can force myself to get up and do things that I have to do, but that doesn't mean I feel fully rested.
I feel like that a lot has to do with our childhood trauma. I never really felt rested either, because I never felt like I could be calm enough and feel safe enough to, get that sleep. And so I think that's like a learned trauma response that we've probably implemented subconsciously into our adult life.
Well, and that I guess makes sense, but at the same time, like, I was 5 when we were removed. So how has my body not like unlearned that?
Again, that's
because it didn't take that long.
That's a trauma response though, and sometimes those things stick in our bodies for forever.
That's
especially if you don't recognize that it could be a response to that and work on it or work through it. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of the times we don't even realize. We just go about our day and we go to sleep, or we wake up when we do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I mean, who thinks about that sort of thing?
But here's the thing. This is going to be my therapy, because let's be real. I can't afford to go to therapy because that's not covered by insurance. And 2, when do I have the time and energy?
That's the thing. My insurance covers it, but I have to hit my deductible first. Well, I have a lower premium but a higher deductible because we hardly ever go to the doctor. We have two policies that work. It's a lower deductible, higher premium, or a higher premium, lower deductible. Well, I obviously pay less out of my pocket per month because we don't go to the doctors often.
Use it, why
right?
Pay for it.
So my insurance won't kick in until obviously we hit our out of pocket, not only just our out of pocket, but like our deductible, which I think is like 6,000. It's a big deductible because we don't go to the doctor, we just don't. And so there's no need, you know. And then on top of that, you have to pay your out of pocket expense. So they only pay like so much. And then you have to pay like, I think it's like 12,000 out of pocket as a family or whatever. So like pretty much I would have to go to therapy every single day of the week for like 6 months to be able to even hit my deductible and out of pocket expense before insurance would cover it 80/20. And I'm sorry, that's $100 a session. I don't have that kind of money. And even if I did,
Exactly.
I'd be saving that or putting it into like, I'd be like investing it or something. I feel like therapy for me is knowing my trigger.
This podcast.
What?
This podcast.
Yes, but it's also knowing my triggers and knowing when I need to walk away from something or knowing when I need to remove people from my life. I think a lot of people think that sometimes seems like really harsh when you just have to like cut ties. And it's not like I'm trying to be mean. It's just I know for my own mental well-being, that's not something I'm able to take care of right now. And for everybody involved in my life, it's best. And then I can reevaluate 2 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years later, and maybe go, okay, now I'm ready to process that or work through it or whatever, For me, that's my therapy.
Yeah. Mine's definitely just talking shit. So there's something that I'm working with a bunch of women online, and we're exploring alternative forms of revenue to bring in, because everybody needs more money. So we're all looking at this and we're talking about like content creation and all this other stuff, and I was like, yeah, I feel like the only thing content wise I would ever be good for is like just talking to my phone as if it's a therapist, and then people could relate to it. That's the best I could do, because I feel like I'm always fucking going crazy. Like people always annoy me. I could literally make a TikTok video every day about somebody that annoyed me that day.
I do have to say that as I've gotten older, I can appreciate the old grumpy people that we've come across in our life.
Right? I feel like, okay, so I also sent this to our group chat earlier this week, and it made me realize I think I'm having a midlife crisis. And the quote was, "Birth is a curse and existence is a prison." And it's true. Or at least that's how I feel.
That's how I feel about it too.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
but because that like resonates with me, I'm like, am I having a midlife crisis over here?
No, but I think it's interesting to know that has a lot to do with why you remember those dreams, is you're spending more time awake during your REM cycle, and you have certain parts of your brain that work differently than people who don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
It's
I mean,
bullshit.
like I said, I wake up and I'll be like, what the fuck was that? Like, I'll be like, oh my God. Like, I remember last night I had the craziest dream. I'm not going to say in the podcast who was in it, because I was like at work, and like my kids were stuck at the gas station right down the street, and Hills was like all butthurt that my kids were at the gas station, or like it was just something weird that I was like, what the fuck? First of all, why was that person even in my dream? Second of all, nothing about the dream made sense. There was no like, so random and so out of left field. And then I remember waking up this morning going like, what the fuck? So like, I'll remember people sometimes, I'll remember places, but I won't remember like how it started, how it ended, what.
Yeah, I feel
Weird.
like I remember a lot. I'm going to go back and tell you guys about a dream I had sometime between 2012 and 2014, and I only know that because I know that I was living in Reno at the time. I had a dream that I was pregnant, and a lot of my friends were pregnant at this time. And granted, they all lived in Washington, so whatever. But I had a dream that I was pregnant, and then all of a sudden I went into labor and I couldn't get to the hospital, so I gave birth on the bathroom floor. And as soon as the baby came out, it turned into a kitten.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting.
when I told a couple people about that, they're like, "Sounds like you're due for a new kitten soon," which is funny because I ended up getting a new one in 2018.
So do you believe that people can dissect dreams and figure out the meaning behind
Like their
them?
meaning?
Yeah.
Yes. I definitely think that when you have dreams, I believe that it's your subconscious telling you something, trying to teach you something. It may not make any sense to you, but it's trying to tell you something.
Okay, but what about somebody like in my case where like I don't remember everything about it? How am I able to give the right amount of information to these people to be able to dissect it in a way that means something if I myself don't even remember? You know what I mean? Like so in that case, does it only work for people who remember all of their dreams? Like how does that work? You know?
So my thought on that, and I am not a professional in any means, by the way, people. This is just my opinion, and my opinion's stupid, so don't listen to me. So my opinion on that is that your subconscious doesn't need, like your conscious doesn't need to remember for your subconscious to work through something.
Well, yes. But how
so you don't have to remember
communicate?
It, but your subconscious, you don't need to communicate it because your subconscious is working through it. You don't have to like talk to other people about your dreams.
I know, but I'm saying
sense.
If you were trying to determine the meaning behind a dream, how are you able to do that if you don't remember all of the details?
So here's something that I learned at one point. I don't know where I learned this, and I don't know how true it is because, again, I learned this a long time ago. Don't forget to swish. So I have heard that your brain actually only has, your dreams are only approximately 15 seconds. And your brain fills in the details. So if you don't remember the details, half the time it's because your brain didn't fill them in.
Okay, so my brain never fills them in.
That or it did and you're just not recalling that because it wasn't important.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But like I said, that's my opinion. That's how I look at it.
So, I found this out within the last couple of months. My youngest is I don't know if you know this. My youngest has a very unhealthy, unnatural fear of frogs.
What the actual fuck?
Right. Like
based on when he was born, he should be loving them.
Well, okay. So
11 days after grandma.
I know. So we have obviously egress windows or whatever, and we have a pond in our backyard with goldfish who unfortunately all died this year.
In the winter?
Well, they were all alive because they were swimming around when everything like unfroze and everything, and then they all just dried off, which is weird because they've survived every year. And you know, I don't have a heater in it, but I have a thing that keeps it so that the ice doesn't freeze all the way, so that whatever, you know. Anyways, so we have a lot of frogs in our backyard because we have running water, and we have a lot of birds because there's a little thing that spouts out water, so they take their little baths and everything. So we have a lot of like birds and rabbits and frogs, and every once in a while one will get stuck down there and then they can't get out, and then they end up dying, and then they rot, and then you can't open the windows because there's frog carcasses, you know. And so yes, we have covers on the egress windows, but there's times where they can squeeze in if it's just right. So I was doing some yard work one time, and there was a frog in one of the egress windows, and it was alive. And so I had asked my youngest to come out and help me, and like he could not. And I only asked him to help me because it's hard for me to get in and out of the egress window holes. Like, let's just be real. So I had asked my youngest to come help me, and he just could not pick it up. Like every time the thing jumped, he would like jump back deathly afraid. Like and when he would finally get it in his hands, he would like throw it up in the air. Like he wouldn't even like try to pick it up and set it on the ground. He would just like chuck it and then it would land back in the egress window and then he'd have to pick it up again. And so anyways, I found out within the last 3 months that so you remember where we used to live when I was married to my ex-husband. And then we moved to the apartment in that apartment building. You don't have to remember the details about where it was at, but you remember the apartment building, right?
The apartment building
Right.
itself?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we had moved to a different apartment, but it was in that apartment building. And it was right around the time that I don't know if I had already like left my ex-husband and the boys were just there for the weekend or if it was while we lived together or whatever. But apparently my youngest had a very, very, very frightening nightmare about a giant frog that was in the bedroom that was trying to eat him. And ever since then, he is like deathly afraid of frogs. And he is 16. And I am not
Oh my
kidding you
God.
when I say if he sees a frog jump, it is like people when they see a spider or a snake. And I'm like, it's a frog. It can't bite you. It can't hurt you. I can understand jumping at first if you don't know it's there because it's the same thing with the
It's
snake.
startling.
I'm not afraid of a
Yeah.
snake, but if I don't know it's there and it moves, it'll startle me. But I'm not afraid of it. Oh no, he's afraid. So now if I ever find
I'm going to start sending him videos of frogs.
he is like unhealthily scared. I am not kidding you. Like he will, and I was like, he just mentioned it a couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck? And he goes, I told you about that, Mom. I told you, and I was like, no, you didn't. I think I would remember if you told me that you were afraid because a big giant frog was in your dream and it was in your nightmare and it was like trying to eat him or attack him or something. You'll have to ask him, but
Oh my God. I'm going to.
to the
I'm going
point
to.
where 10, 12 years later, because I don't know how old he quite was, that nightmare has stuck with him. That reminds me, I do have a memory of a nightmare that I had when we were younger and we still lived with our birth mother.
Okay.
To this day. To this day.
Okay.
And I know where it originates from. I don't remember if we were like at grandma's house or if we went and saw this at the movie theaters or like if we have I don't remember. But there was but now I'm thinking of two. Now there's two. Okay, so the first one is there's a Sesame Street movie where like bad blackbirds try to steal Big Bird. Or like they try
Okay.
to kidnap him or whatever.
Okay.
And I remember after we watched that movie, I had a dream that the big blackbirds were trying to kidnap me and eat me. And so I can't ever watch that movie again. And then the other one is at grandma's house. If grandma let us watch movies, it was always like those little 20-minute like Winnie the Pooh cartoons.
Mhm.
And there's
Mhm.
one with the Heffalumps and Woozles that scared the living fucking daylights out of me. And like
That was the blustery day.
that was the blustery day with the Heffalumps and Woozles. And that one, like I can't watch that one. And I'm
Still?
41, cannot watch it. Nope. Mm-mm.
Oh, see, I have little like Beanie Baby type things of a Heffalump and a Woozle.
Nope. Scared the shit out of me. And I was
That's
maybe, 8?
awesome.
So it's not like I was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
I don't know.
So that said, you mentioned something about a movie theater. I thought of something else that you were afraid of, though.
Fantasia?
No. So we went to. Do you remember the Liberty Theater in Puyallup?
The one in the strip mall?
No, the one in like old downtown.
No.
Okay.
I don't know
Well, there
what
was
you're talking
one in old downtown Puyallup. And it had these lights on the wall. And the way the light came through, it looked kind of like a cat's eye. And you were terrified of those lights.
I don't even remember going to this place.
Yeah, it was the cheap theater.
Don't remember it.
Well,
But yeah, I do remember.
that's also where I saw Titanic several times.
Yeah, no, I those are the ones that I remember, but I know that it's because I watched the TV show or the movie and then I went to bed and then I dreamt about it, so it like is cemented in my mind. So like I know where it came from. That I think kind of started the start of me not being able to watch or read or listen to anything that's disturbing right before bed, because I do end up incorporating that into my dreams, and then it scars me in a way that makes it difficult to get past. Like, I am not kidding you. I'm 41 and I am frightened of the heffalumps and woozles in the Winnie the Pooh cartoon from like 1987. But have you watched some of that shit that we used to watch when we were kids? That stuff's fucking
Yes.
disturbing.
No, it's not.
It's disturbing.
Not the Winnie the Pooh stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
But no, it's
I
not
still
even
watch
just
it.
that. It's just like I was just watching something the other day and they were like, "What the fuck were we watching in the 80s?" And it's like scary looking like puppets and shit, and like it's like stuff you would
Dark
see in
Crystal?
a horror movie. No,
You remember the movie Dark
I
Crystal?
do remember that, yes, but that's a good one. But like that, or the ROA, what is it? The ROASs, the rodents of a new ROU in Princess Bride
Oh,
when they're in that.
I didn't. I didn't see Princess Bride until I was an adult.
Oh gosh, no. And then the Never-Ending Story where Atreyu watches his horse like get
Artax.
get taken in by the what is it? The sorry,
It was in the quicksand.
And like what shit were we watching? That stuff
And
is
then the rock monster
traumatizing.
who's like crying because like the nothing took his friends.
Yes, like what were we watching when we were children?
I don't know.
And then people want to
that's a
sit
great
there and
question.
say now that the stuff these kids are watching is like we watched. I mean, I'm sorry, but like
Well, that's probably why we all need therapy,
yeah,
because we watch some fucked up shit. And I remember my favorite show. The first show that I remember being my favorite was Fraggle Rock.
Loved Fraggle Rock,
Of course.
but it's
But then
disturbing. If you watch it now,
it-
you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. These creatures were on acid. I guarantee.
Oh my
it.
god, no, that's okay. That's so
The
funny you
creator.
say that because, and I know you're gonna just absolutely disown me for this, but I cannot watch Dumbo or Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland, they were on a fucking acid trip when they wrote that movie, and Dumbo, they were drunk as fuck.
I haven't seen Dumbo in years, so I'm not going to judge you. Alice in Wonderland, I think it's weird.
It's weird. It's an acid trip. Not that I would know from personal experience, but I would just imagine that if you took acid, that would be what it would be like.
So I've heard that you watch that and you listen to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, and you trip on LSD.
I mean, I've heard of that too. I would not know from personal experience.
It's same. Like
I also
heard
do
that's the
not
way
know
to
from
watch
personal
it.
experience where one would obtain LSD. And honestly, to tell
don't
you the
either.
truth, at my age, I don't even know if I know what that is. Isn't that speed?
no, LSD is a hallucinogen.
Oh, okay. Dare
that's-
Dare really worked for me. Clearly, clearly, because I lived with 4 roommates at one point that were doing cocaine. Had no idea. And then, yeah, I don't know the difference between if you snort it, smoke it, shove it up your butt. I don't know.
I heard that if you shove things up your butt, it gets to you faster, but that's not me condoning it.
I
That's
don't
me
understand
just-
how that's possible though, because aren't there like drug mules where they shove shit up their ass? I mean, I get that
Yeah,
it's
they're-
wrapped.
Yeah, but it's So the wrapping prevents it from like.
I
being
mean, I
absorbed
get
by
that.
the
That was
nerves.
supposed to be a joke. That
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
But so speaking of drugs,
Segue of the
so I recently
century.
finished watching. Finished watching Orange Is the New Black.
I've never seen that, and I have no desire to see it.
It's interesting. There's some episodes that were just dumb, but there were some that were very educational. Like
I'll take your word for it.
Like the prison system, what it's like to be inside.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
I had this dream in the last week or so that I was in prison and I took heroin, but it was like in a those butter cream mints
Yeah.
that melt in your mouth.
Mhm.
It was like that, and I'm like, I know that's not how you do heroin, but maybe this is a new thing.
Isn't that how
and
you
I'm
do
gonna try
acid?
it.
Isn't it like on a piece of paper or something, and you stick it under your tongue?
Yes, I think, but I don't think it dissolves.
I don't know.
Whatever I took in this dream dissolved completely.
Oh, okay.
It was like a sugar cube almost.
Okay, she's a horse now, people.
Yeah. But in this dream, I almost died
On heroin. In
on
prison.
heroin in prison.
Probably because it was like made in a toilet bowl or something.
I equated it to the fact that I had, I don't do drugs. None of that. My body's not used to it. So it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? This is way too much for you.
God,
to
they
be
give me
doing.
like a pain pill after I had my surgery, and I took 1 or 2, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, that is not, I mean, yeah, it makes the pain go away, but fuck, the head rush, like the wooziness, and then it backs you up and you're constipated for days. It's just not worth it.
Dude. So when I went to, I was unloading the dishwasher it was November of 2019. I bent down to grab something out of the dishwasher, and something in my hip area completely went out. I could not stand. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. So Bill took me to the ER. They gave me a shot of some kind of pain pill or pain med. They gave me a pain pill, and they gave me a pain patch.
Jesus Christ. Is
I
that
was
the
asleep
day
for
you were
3 days.
higher than a kite and you were yelling at cars?
No. That was when they
Higher
gave
than
me
a
morphine.
kite on drug medication that was prescribed to her. Let's.
No. That was when they gave me morphine for my gallbladder.
I was after I had my surgery, I had hit my deductible for the year, and I ended up having like some really bad stomach pains, and I had been in and out of the doctor all weekend, and they were like, okay, if this doesn't go away, you need to go to the ER. And I was like, okay, blah blah blah. Of course, around 2:00 in the morning, it gets hard, and so whatever. We end up in the ER, and they put me on Dilaudid. Oh my God. First of all, let me tell you, I don't necessarily, not you per se, Amy, but for the listeners out there, I really honestly don't take a lot of pain medication. Take a lot of Aleve now, but outside of that, I don't take much. I try to be as holistic as possible. I'm not, like some witch that's like, ooh, this and that, but like, I just try not to put stuff in my body unless I absolutely have to. So anyways, they put me on Dilaudid, and it wasn't an IV. It wasn't a pill. And I'm not fucking kidding you. Within like 10 seconds, higher than a kite. Didn't feel shit. Higher than a kite. Like, it was great. I was like giggly, woo! Like, I could see things. I mean, it was like hallucinating. And then after like a minute, it went away. And then I felt like shit. And then like after 15 minutes or whatever, they were like, how's the pain? I'm like, it still hurts. So they gave me another one. Woohoo! Like flying like a kite. This is great. No pain. A minute later, it would come right back. It sucked. But they gave me enough of these shots while I'm in the ER because they took an MRI, they took an ultrasound, they everything, right? Could not find the reason for it. They assume it was a kidney stone. They just couldn't find. But I never ended up passing anything that I know of. But I've never had a kidney stone before. So they released me from the ER or whatever, and I had to drive home with my head out the window with the cold air because I could not. They had given me enough Dilaudid that the after effects of it, like, I just felt so yucky and so gross. Oh, I was hot and I was sweaty and like, ugh, it was gross. I can't do it. So drugs aren't for me.
Yeah. I don't know what they gave me, because whatever they gave me, it was like they literally gave me a shot like right into my butt, like my butt cheek, and like, yeah.
I've had to have one of those antibiotic shots that they stick in your ass, not up your ass, but like in your butt cheek. Like when you have an infection or whatever, and it makes your butt hurt, like your butt, you can't sit on your butt cheek for like a week, and it fucking stings when it goes in. Oh my God, it burns. I don't know what that's called, but it is awful. Ugh.
All I know is that when they gave me mine, I was in so much pain from the hip itself that I couldn't feel it go in.
That's like what an epidural needle is.
The funny thing is, so my husband does not do doctors. He doesn't do hospitals. He does not do any of that. And he's like, can we like hurry up so that her and I can leave? What do I got to do to like speed this along? The guy in the next, like it wasn't a room. It like they had the curtains.
Yeah. That's
because I was in fast track because they knew they could get me in and out.
Yeah,
it's fine. I mean that's all I needed. The guy in the next curtain over had cut off his fingertip. And the doctor was looking at it and he's like, I can't just stitch you up because there's a piece of your finger missing. And my husband's like sticking his fingers in his ears. He's like, la 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 la. I can't hear it. I can't hear it. He almost got sick to his stomach and almost like had to be in there himself. It was hilarious. I was coherent enough to know that much.
And I would
But
just
other
like
than
to
that-
point out, folks, this is why we needed a podcast, because this is supposed to be about dreams, and now we're talking about drugs and then prescribed drugs and
And our experiences with prescribed
said
medications.
prescription pain or painkillers.
Are you sure you're not high right now?
I'm not. Well, no, I'm not. I'm just tired. It's been a long day. I'd like to 4 loads of laundry. I vacuumed. I dusted. Like I said, I cleaned the bathroom.
I did 2 loads of laundry.
Look at you.
Yeah, look at me go.
That's probably all the laundry in your house, though.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. Every weekend normally I do 1 load, but if I wear bulky stuff, it's 2 loads.
No, I literally I did a load of whites today, and then I had to do I think 3 loads between mine and Roger's clothes because Roger is leaving on a business trip, and so I had to clean more things than I normally would because we have to make sure everything's fresh and clean for being packed, and
You want to hear a little secret?
Hmm.
I don't separate my laundry.
I used to not.
I'm not racist.
I used to not, but after having teenage boys, bleaching of the underwear and the socks is absolutely necessary.
I mean, so how do you bleach stuff though?
You know what's really funny is I throw their black underwear, their black socks, it all it's their underwear and socks. Now I don't do their clothes, but I can put black underwear and black socks, colored underwear or whatever, and it all goes into the load with bleach, and it doesn't bleed.
So you don't separate it colors versus whites. Then you just do undergarments and then clothes.
Mostly whites, towels, and white socks, but there's a few of them that have some black and white socks. I have a couple pairs of underwear that aren't white, obviously, and I just throw that all in there. But usually it's undergarments, which is mostly socks, and towels.
I do not own any white underwear. None of my underwear is white. I go for dark colors.
I do too, but a lot nowadays, if you buy a package, there's always 1 or 2 white pairs. It's you can never, you can't even hardly anymore find packages that don't. So, I mean, whatever, it's not a big deal, but I just throw it all in there. But my kids would come home from football practice or whatever, and their socks stink and their underwear stinks and their undershirts stink. And so most of that stuff is white or, their boxers or whatever. And it doesn't bleed. Because Roger said the same thing. He was like, there must not be enough bleach in there because we don't put bleach directly in. We have one of those ones where you put it in a container and it slowly disperses itself, and there's no setting. It's just, I just change it to hot water. And when it's hot water, if there's bleach in there, it pushes the bleach out. And so he was like, it must not be. And I was like, you can tell that the bleach is going out because you can smell the bleach, when you're, after you dry it. I mean, it's not bleach smelling, but you can tell that it's clean.
It's got an odor, a bleach odor.
Yeah. And so he doesn't think that it does clean it because I've put color stuff in there. Now I'm not putting colored shirts or
Now, are you using color safe bleach though?
I don't know. I don't know. I just grab I think it's the Target. I know that I get the Target off brand, so the Up and Up, and I know that I get the no splash bleach. So it's more of
I don't buy the bleach.
Oh.
Normally Bill buys the bleach,
Oh.
and normally he buys it at the dollar store because he will use an entire bottle.
Yeah.
And clean an area. He does not use it in the laundry at all.
Mm.
He uses it outside.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
So,
but I mean,
and he'll go through a whole bottle.
I just do the no splash because then when it's more of a gel so that when you put it in, you don't have to worry about it splashing up onto your clothes. Or splashing out onto the floor, and if you have carpet or whatever. So I know it's no splash, but I mean, I don't think it's not one that I think deliberately says color safe. I don't, like I said, I don't put it in with other colored shirts, but for some reason the socks that we have and the underwear we have is made out of a material that doesn't, I would imagine most of the underwear, I mean, female underwear, it's hard to find just plain cotton. You find like a cotton blend with polyester or whatever.
Yeah, I cannot do that polyester crap.
Yeah. And so like, it's not full cotton, so it doesn't bleach or it doesn't, like fade or whatever. But yeah, that's the only reason why I separate, because it's gross. It's just gross. I have to bleach it. And if I don't bleach it, what I do is I'll soak them all in our tub with some OxyClean and just let it like,
marinate.
Yeah. And then I will wash it once in just water and then wash it again with soap, because if you don't rinse it with water before you put the soap in, I feel like when you open it up, it still smells like dingy because it didn't wash out all the stuff that.
So.
And again, what the fuck? We went from dreams to fucking drugs to laundry?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I don't even know.
That's just who we are.
I don't even know.
Okay? That's just who we are. Bill does a second rinse on all of our loads because for the longest time we thought I had a allergy to some of the detergents.
Yeah, so you just rinsed it extra to make sure it's all out.
And then we tried like the free and clear stuff, and I went back to regular because I could find regular on a regular basis. And he's like, but you need the free and clear. And I'm like, no, we don't. On top of the fact that I can't get the free and clear at Costco.
I know. I hate that you can't find some things there. Should have everything.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything to add since we've gone on like 10,000 tangents?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm tired, so
yeah. I don't know if I have any.
How we diverge.
Like I have I have several other. Quick thing actually. Just for those of you out there, when I have a bad dream, can know that I'm having a bad dream, and then I lean into it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just a dream. If I die, I die. No big deal.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'll let a bad guy catch me in dreams. I don't care.
Let me choke on my own spit.
No dying over there. No dying.
Yeah.
No dying.
Okay. Well, with that being said, guys,
have a great week. And if you have any topics or insight on any of the topics we have done, feel free to email us, jennyandamypodcast@gmail.com. That's GINNYANDAMY podcast@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Instagram at Bitching Siblings Podcast. But guess what?
You can also call us and leave us a voicemail, and we'll play your voicemails on air. And that phone number is 785-538-9128.
We're going to play your shit on the air.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.